More from the MTV Kickstart band competition, but first the Vietnam War. 37 New Zealanders were killed in action and 1,000 others have since passed away after returning almost 40 years ago. This week the government finally officially apologised to vets who were ostracised when they came home from the controversial conflict. A multimedia exhibition in Wellington captures the memories of what was for so long forgotten. Charlotte Tonkin reports.
For Vietnam veterans, these are familiar images. They'll always serve as reminders of their service and what it cost. 36 years on, a new exhibition hopes to heal many of those emotional scars and encourage discussion between generations.
They do want to know, but they won't ask. And this exhibition is a good opportunity or an excuse or a reason for explaining to your family what it was about.
The exhibition, Vietnam, not just a 12-month tour, focuses on the veterans rather than the politics behind the controversial war.
In this case, it's probably balanced a little bit more, or it's oriented a bit more towards telling the vet stories and allowing them to have their say.
The show coincides with Tribute 08, the Crown's formal apology to veterans for the lack of recognition they've received over the last 4 decades. The journey for many hardened soldiers has been moving.
And they unashamedly cried yesterday. And for good reason.
The multimedia exhibition offers a visual and audio experience of New Zealand's involvement in Vietnam.
From Saigon, ladies and gentlemen, the beat goes on.
It's not the same as lying in a jungle in a bog and being shot at, but nevertheless, they can sort of imagine some of those things.
And it gives those who don't need to imagine war the chance to share their experiences.
Veterans can go through it with their families and show them things that they recall. For instance, I spent 6 months on that radio set over there. 6 months on it, talking on it probably 9 hours a day.
Tribute 08 continues this weekend, and despite the apology, for some, the scars will never heal. Charlotte Tonkin, 3 News.
Thousands of people have taken to the streets of Wellington to march on Parliament and offer a belated welcome home to veterans of the Vietnam War. The Tribute 08 march comes 3 days after an historic apology from the Crown for failing to honour those who served on behalf of New Zealand in the 8-year war. Veterans and their families were welcomed to Parliament with a whakanoa or cleansing ceremony. Emma Jolliffe was there.
Hundreds of people gathered in Wellington Civic Square this morning to begin the march through the city to Parliament for the commemoration.
Today, like 10 years ago, it's a coming home.
Well, we went through the process in Australia. It only took them 20 years over there, though. They're pretty quick, us Aussies, see.
The emotion on the faces of those who came to honour the Vietnam veterans 4 decades on said it all. Veterans, their partners, children and grandchildren were moved to honour those who served, while a small group of protesters looked on. The honour march was met by a whakanoa, or spiritual cleansing ceremony, at Parliament.
This week is fundamentally about reconciliation. It's about acknowledging and apologising for the wrongs of the past. It's about respect for those who gave loyal service.
The response was overwhelmingly positive.
I think it's a start. I think it's a great start.
We're really glad now that it's settled. Although we've lost a lot of the guys have passed on, but the main thing is that, they've apologised, we've accepted it.
And some had travelled a long way to be here.
There's 12 of us here, so 10 of us have come from Australia, and my brother and his wife have travelled up from Sweden to be with our dad for this weekend.
The names of the 37 deceased were read out as next of kin carried their photos up the steps of Parliament to be displayed in the Legislative Council chamber.
Amazing turnout of veterans, their families and New Zealanders coming to Parliament to pay recognition to those Vietnam veterans.
The vigil for the 37 fallen, who are symbolically lying in state, will continue until 8 a.m. tomorrow, with the public welcome to come and pay their respects until midnight tonight. Emma Jolliffe, 3 News.
A memorial service for the 37 Kiwi soldiers killed in the Vietnam War was held at the National War Memorial in Wellington today as a final part of Tribute 08. An official recognition ceremony followed with a 37-gun salute for those who lost their lives. Emma Jolliffe reports.
The mood of the crowd was sombre as veterans and their families gathered at the National War Memorial to remember veterans who died in action in Vietnam and who have died since. Wreaths were laid in their honour in the Hall of Memories. A head of roses being laid on the tomb of the unknown warrior. The crowd then marched to the Basin Reserve.
It's finally closure.
For the first time, there's been sincerity in what people are saying.
The ceremony at the reserve featured a 100-man guard of honour.
I know it is long overdue, but to our New Zealand Vietnam veterans, welcome home.
10 General Service Medals were awarded before the Army's 16 Field Regiment fired a 37-gun salute and lowered a flag to commemorate each soldier who lost his life.
Everyone should be really aware that we are now true, respected representatives of our country.
As the ceremony drew to a close, Iroquois helicopters flew overhead. A sound that evokes powerful memories for all who served in Vietnam. Emma Jolliffe, 3 News.